Before we begin tonight's show, I must put out the disclaimer that if you have kids, do not let them listen tonight, as it will be a bit more graphic than usual due to the nature of some of these creatures. What you find is with these creatures in culture were used as thought forms to ensure the behavior of their kids. It was also used to spur economy and increase production in industries in some cases. Hope you enjoy the show.
Is not an alien force already among us?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
From some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe.
Welcome to S-4.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to S-4, the official radio broadcast of Forest Moon Paranormal, with host Eric Cooper and our panel of enlightened minds. Coming to you live from FMP headquarters located in the heart of Skagit Valley, Washington, at the base of the majestic North Cascade Mountains. We will take you through a journey of exploration as we examine every aspect of the metaphysical. From spirits, UFOs, Bigfoot, and conspiracies, to grounding, protection, astral travel, and everything in between, leaving you with a better understanding and comprehension of the world around you, and the entities that inhabit it. Join us every Saturday night at midnight Pacific Standard Time on the Fringe FM and locally on KSVU 90.1. Remember to check out the Forest Moon Paranormal Facebook page and join in the discussion. Now sit back, open your mind, get ready, because this is S-4.
Good evening or morning, depending where you are, and welcome to S4, the voice of Forest Moon Paranormal, coming to you live from the FMP headquarters in the beautiful mountains of concrete. FMP is a highly active emergency response team for all aspects of the paranormal, from aggressive hauntings to alien interaction, Bigfoot and other cryptids, and everything in between is terrifying. S4 is a voice where we discuss these things in detail, giving you a better understanding. You can find S4 on the Fringe FM every Saturday at midnight, where you can also find Lighting the Void with Joe Roop, Shift Happens with Cortana, and Dark Waters. We are also on terrestrial radio for our locals with KSVU 90.1 FM locally from 10 to 12 Saturdays with our pre-recorded shows for the locals. So tonight, it's the 8th of December. Can you believe it? It's already the 8th. And this is going to be the second in a series of holiday-related shows. It'll cover all the creepy things of the holidays, from Krampus and the Yule Cat, where did Jack Frost come from, Belsnickel, the Yule Lads, and many more. So tonight with us we have Cole Wegleitner, our FMP lore and cultural research specialist and owner of Statement of Sound DJ Services, Megan Gearing, our FMP security detail and astral team, and Michael Hall, our paranormal lawyer and the founder of UFOI team. And with that, like I said in our disclaimer, this ain't the this ain't the show for the faint of heart, for sure. So how are we doing tonight, guys?
We're doing great tonight.
Absolutely wonderful.
We did this show last year, but there's a lot of stuff that we didn't cover. Like I never found the Yule Cat poem or the Yule Lads poem. We didn't cover that last year. We did. We learn as we go, and this show has expanded a whole lot in the last 2.5 years, like everything does. And I added, I always wondered. I love the cartoon, The Guardians, Legends of the Guardians, because I love the persona they have of Jack Frost. But that's not even close to reality. A lot of times you'll find cartoons and movies and whatnot, they have a little bit of truth to what they portray. And not even close in this persona. Did you notice that, Megan?
No, I did not. Sorry. I'm flipping through notes. Hold on. I'm so with it tonight.
I like that. At least you're honest there.
Right.
Well, just so everyone knows, we have our team meeting the second Saturday of each month. The second Saturday of each month, which goes until about 8. And then, of course, we all rush home, and then we have the show at midnight. So it gives us 4 hours to get everything together. Me, I have to get the studio together, get all the scripts and the notes and all that printed out and everything going. The rest of the team, they're all getting their notes together and getting the coffee made, cigarettes rolled, and, everything comfortable for a 2-hour show. A lot of stuff goes behind the scenes. And like I told the team, if you have ideas you want to hear on the show for the 2019 year coming up, let me know. Send me a message. If you want to see areas that you want to see FMP cover, again, send me a note. We're an interactive team in that we always take the ideas from our listeners, take the ideas from our clients of how to improve. Technology changes, advancements change. And I know Michael can attest to that. Even with the UFO side of the things, that everything's changing, everything's revolving.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And this is going to be covered in another show, but I am curious, Michael, what do you see coming up in 2019 on the UFO side?
Well, it's got to be exciting, whatever it is, because I'll tell you what, if we look back at just this last year, today's the 8th. It wasn't even a year yet. December 16th of last year, when the New York Times article came out confirming through the Department of Defense and the Pentagon the actual existence of UFOs. I mean, we have had a pretty exciting year when it comes down to it. We've got metamaterials that have been captured or studied by the U.S. government, trying to figure out what they are. And it's supposedly from a crashed UFO, by the way. And these metamaterials that they're studying supposedly had, or still have, some kind of a physiological effect on the human being itself. So, and the last thing was that they've told us so far was that these metamaterials weren't even created here in this galaxy. So if they're going to disclose that to us just in the last year, I don't know what the heck's coming down the road, but we've got new television shows coming down the pike from the History Channel, the Project Blue Book series. We got all sorts of stuff happening just towards the end of this year.
Pay attention. I'm going to try to catch the Blue Book series when it comes out on TV. But if I miss it, we are doing an S-4 Blue Book series, radio show for the 10th of January.
Oh, perfect!
12.
Because the
12th,
Project
12th.
The Project Blue Book actually comes out first airing on January 8th.
That's why we plan it for the 12th. That way we're not going to be spoilers or whatnot. We'll be able to talk about what we saw and basically the actual history of Blue Book. and all the advances it did, and the investigations they did, and who the key players were, and things of that nature.
That'll be great.
Now, Tripp is asking, he thought the New York article videos were debunked.
Yeah, some people have he's talking about the Tic Tac gun camera footage that was taken from the FA-18s off of the Nimitz aircraft carrier off the coast of California. I've heard that too, but then again, you just never know what's disinformation. There's this theory out there that they throw things out there to the public, and they try to tell them, a little bit something about disclosure in that regard, and then they pull it back later on, and they can pull it back with truth, or they can pull it back with disinformation. I don't know which is which at this point. Of course, you've got these Navy pilots that have been thrown out there in the mainstream media talking about these things that they captured on their gun camera footage. So it would be really difficult to kind of slam those guys. They've got the whole careers involved in this thing, and they were given the green light to talk about it. So I don't know what's disinformation and what's not at this point.
Right. Okay, and going with the theme of tonight's show, Cole, what is tonight?
Yeah. Tonight is nothing, but on the 5th was St. Nicholas Day to all our friends in Austria.
And wasn't the 6th actually Krampus night?
No, the night before the 5th is Krampus night.
Okay.
So the 4th?
Kind of, because, so just like our friend Santa Claus, Krampus would come in the night. So it was kind of in between. Like he didn't come on the 4th, he didn't come on the 5th. He came in that moment before and after.
Right, okay. And we're going to be hitting
beat
Krampus.
The heck out of you.
We're probably going to hit Krampus second hour, because I'm trying to hit some of the ones that don't get as much popularity, and they're not as heard of, like Belsnickel, like the Yule Cat. Krampus has made a big surge, and I gotta say, in the movie they portray Oma as being German. Krampus was never German, and I was so confused when that movie came out, because I spent 8 years in Germany. I had German friends. I spent Christmas in Germany numerous years. But I've never heard of Krampus. I would think, being 8 years in Germany with a whole bunch of Christmases, I would have heard something from my German friends about Krampus. So,
well,
yeah.
But for a long time, Austria was considered part of Germany, and a lot of their traditions and their things, like, you look for how many years was Arnold Schwarzenegger not considered an Austria in the United States? For many years, as a bodybuilder, not as an actor, he was considered a German.
Right. So Krampus did start in Austria, but he was ingrained into German culture. But, and we're jumping the gun a little bit, but I do want to say, it's interesting that Krampus was actually made illegal and outlawed in both the German and the Austrian cultures by the government, based on religious organizations that influenced the government. That actually made Krampus illegal. And he's only recently, in last 10 years, made a comeback. But again...
Hold on.
Go ahead.
One more thing. To all my friends in Austria, may I say, Happy St. Nicholas Day. May your shoes be filled, and may you have a Merry Christmas.
Do they get silver coins in their shoes? Or is that something different?
No, candies.
Candies
and goodies.
Okay. That's a different culture. There's another culture where, and we'll get to that. I've got to figure out which creature that is, but there is another one where they actually get silver coins if they're good. I think that might be Belsnickel. Anyway, Jack Frost.
Dutch.
Jack Frost was made entirely of ice. He's a sprite-like creature that leaves a shiver wherever he goes. He's responsible for the frosty weather in December. He was usually depicted as some sort of a sprite or an elf. Now, where did he come from? You know, I've got to say, like I said before the show, I always loved Jack Frost in Legends of the Guardians. I love the portrayal, but that's far from the truth. Some tales claim that he is related to said giants who are responsible for glaciers, avalanches, ice caps, and frozen rivers. But he was never human. He was never changed into a magical snowy man by the moon. He was never seen as an old man, and only occasionally he was a child or a teenager. So his mother was thought to be Keri, the Norse god of the winds. Her son was named Jokul Frosty, which means frosty icicle, and it's believed the name Jack Frost is just a modernized spin of it. But other myths claim different. In Russia, he's known as Father Frost, who was a blacksmith forging chains to bind the earth and its waters together. In Germanic folklore, they instead have Old Mother Frost, who was a white-haired crone and shook out a feather blanket to create snow. He comes from a long history of personifying the seasons. Frequently, someone might refer to a winter or frost as if they were a person, as Hannah Flagg Golds did in her poem, The Frost. Jack is just a generic man's name. It's hard to find characters like this from any other season, but in winter, there's Old Man Winter, there's Snow Queens, Ice Maidens, Mother Holly. So, Jack Frost is only personification. Now, in 1740, in roundabout our coal fire, or Christmas entertainment, this time of year being cold and frosty, generally speaking, or when Jack Frost commonly takes us by the nose, the diversions are within doors, either in exercise or by the fireside. And there's the ancestor of nipping at your nose. You guys got anything to add?
Wow, so
Well-
that was actually brought up in 1740? Huh.
Yep.
Wow.
It was cold then, too.
I've got a list of them. 7 December, 1765, Jack Frost. To the author of The Summer's Tale, St. James Chronicle, 10 December, 1765. And it's actually a silly letter to the editor from an anonymous pen, signed Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
5 January, 1785, Freeman's Journal, or the North American Intelligencer in Philadelphia, published a poem, The Life and Adventures of Jack Frost, and his wholesome advice to all honest hearts at this nipping season. 1826, sporting magazine, Jack Frost, however, put a veto on our morning sports. In 1858, the copyright for a book, Jack Frost and Betty Snow, with other tales for wintry nights and rainy days, by John F. Chanter et al. Here Jack Frost and his wife Betty Snow are capricious spirits who freeze everything and kill people. Wonderful. So, I mean, we're talking, you know, Jack Frost goes all the way back to the 1700s.
Well, and it just goes to show you too that, you know, those winters were long back then. I mean, they were just sitting around the fire trying to stay warm and telling stories a lot. So they made up a lot of interesting legends and probably put some facts to some of the old stories, you know, that they were passed down orally over the years. Must have been an amazing time to be. I would love to have read that article back in the 1700s, you know, in that newspaper by that anonymous person.
I will find that reference for you, and it's actually got links to some of this.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I'm looking. Yeah, I do have a link to Little Jack Frost from 1875, Charles Sangster. The Jack Frost of this poem has a lot in common with the Jack Frost of Rise of the Guardians, a nose-biting, prank-playing creature capering wildly through storm and sleet, who was falling ousted by Mother Nature.
Well, I do want to say something. I don't know if this is honestly true, but this is something that I have been told from living in Canada. Was the reason Jack Frost nipped at your nose is because whenever you saw the old fur traders in Canada who would come back out of the cold after a long winter, they didn't have a nose left. Mm-hmm. It had been taken by frostbite.
Oh.
And that was Jack Frost taking your nose.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Trip in the chat room has some information, not about Jack Frost, but about Comet 46P Wirtanen will be closest to Earth on December 16th at 8:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be 5 a.m. for us, less than 4 days after making its closest approach to the Sun. Let's see, we'll pass very close to the Earth, just 7,199,427 miles away. That's among the 10 closest comet approaches that have occurred since 1950, and the 20th closest approach of a comet dating as far back as the 9th century AD.
Wow. Thanks, Trip.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I do want to say, Comet will be a little bit closer to my house on December 24th. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Along with Cupid and Dancer and a few of the others.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Rudolph.
That's much closer than the Oumuamua object that came through our system. So that's going to be interesting.
Okay. Let's talk about the
Can I ask
ghost.
a question quick?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just about that. How big is that comet? Do we know?
Let's see. I'm looking. And it'll take a second for Trip to answer. And I'm looking through his comment. And it doesn't say.
It's not very nice, Trip, sticking your tongue out at me.
And it won't have a tail. And
a comet
reminds
without a
me
tail.
of the comets or the meteors that the kids on the bus talked about. Whitehorse. I've never heard of a red comet.
No, but I've heard of Charlie Red Star up there in Canada.
No, this is here in Darrington.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
there was a
Just last
Facebook
week.
post. There was a Facebook post on my local community board, and basically school-age children were on the bus, and they reported, the whole bus of kids reported seeing a red shower of meteorites impact on Whitehorse Mountain. And they were red. And I've been following the post on Facebook. No adults reported seeing it. There's no reported photos or videos. And it was sometime between 8 a.m. I mean, it was daylight hours. It was 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.-ish.
And Trip reports it's going to be 7/10 of a mile wide. But, Michael, have you ever heard of a red meteor?
Well, I've never heard of a red meteor per se, but our buddy Peter Davenport from the National UFO Reporting Center has just been reporting multiple objects like this, and in different colors as well, white, red, orange, being clusters like that. You know, people seeing 10, 15, 20 objects kind of streaking around in the same direction. And some of them even kind of leapfrogging themselves or interacting with themselves as they moved as well. It seems to be kind of like the newer thing. They're not just a lot of people are not just reporting one craft, one object, or a saucer, or a rectangle, even, or a triangle. They're reporting a cluster of things, and red objects are not uncommon.
So, in your opinion, are these just space junk? Are they just meteors? Or do you think these are actually off-world craft?
I don't think that they are meteors or space junk. If, for instance, at White Horse Mountain, they're seeing coming right down to Earth, normally these things will burn up in our own atmosphere, and you'll just see them burn out before they even impact the close atmosphere. So anything, and this is we've seen this at the UFO I-Team as well up in Mount Baker. We've actually been out there, till 3, 4 in the morning, just kind of filming the night sky and seeing these things that kind of look like they could be shooting stars coming down out of the atmosphere. But instead of burning out, they just disappear behind Mount Baker or something. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if they hit the ground somewhere, but there's no explosion, no sound at all. So I think that these things are something other than just meteors, because obviously if they were meteors and they're hitting the ground, there's going to be some kind of an explosion, light effect, or sound as well.
Well, the other thing with that, they didn't hit any seismic activity. They didn't create any seismic activity. And if it was a meteor, it would have impacted seismology.
Yes, exactly. And believe me, meteors are so rare. There would be scientists all over the place hunting for those rare materials.
Right.
If indeed they hit the ground, there would be government and private organizations out there just searching for those things.
Yeah.
Michael, what you were saying about the leapfrogging?
Yes.
My mother-in-law actually saw something like that in Mount Vernon on Wednesday, and two of her coworkers actually, after she went back to work, confirmed the same thing. They saw the same thing from two different areas in Mount Vernon.
Huh.
Did she explain what she saw to you as well, Cole?
Kind of. So what she saw, she thought they were 4 drones, but they were too far away from her to actually be drones, because all 4 of them had quite bright red or bright white lights on them.
Okay.
The lights were stationary. They weren't turning with the drone like a drone would. They were shining at her the whole time.
Oh, interesting.
So, and they were leapfrogging each other, like you were saying.
That term leapfrogging is a new thing that I have never heard before in ufology up until just recently, where multiple objects are traveling in the same direction or interacting with one another as they fly. That just does not happen if it's like a flock of, even if it was a flock of geese, you'd see them not leapfrogging one another. You'd see them flying in a V, but any kind of other craft, whether it's military or not, they're not going to be doing that. They're not going to be, playing that close to one another as they move. So it's just fascinating that your mother-in-law saw this just recently. Was this a nighttime sighting, is what you're saying?
No, during the day, but the lights were still bright enough that they looked like headlights.
Oh man, that has got to be very powerful light.
Yeah, like that, then that's the thing. I was trying to think of any drone that could actually have that powerful light on it and still support itself in the air, and there really isn't one.
Not that I've seen. The only thing that I could say that I've mistaken for that, even in at dusk or even sometimes during the daylight, would be like an incoming large commercial airliner, sometimes their landing lights are coming on early so you can see them and stuff. But it's not going to be leapfrogging itself. If it's multiple objects, that's just very strange. And she said, from what you mentioned, is that it looked as if the lights were coming right at her or shining at her.
Yeah.
That's what the UFO I-Team experienced down at Mount Adams at the East City Ranch, with a huge white object coming across the night sky at very low altitude, less than 2,000 feet, because it was below the cloud layer at the time, and shooting an actual laser beam at not just our group, but at the entire Skywatch field that we were in, with probably about 75 other people that night. And we actually got that on videotape that people can check out on the Facebook page for the UFO I-Team. So those things seem to interact with people sometimes. Even though we're just sitting there watching, they seem to know we're there.
All right, moving along. And folks, with S4, anytime we get into a topic that is off the topic of the show, any kind of news that comes in, we always jump on that and go. But next,
Sorry.
I want to. No, that's fine. That's what we do. But any new listeners, yeah, we always go off topic. That's just part of S4. But Marie Lid, it's Wales. It's the zombie horse. Did anyone look up the zombie horse?
Oh, I did come across that.
So, Marie Lid is a zombie horse who rises from the dead every New Year's Eve to remind the living of their existence and even try to get into the house. Don't be alarmed if a skeletal horse with snapping jaws and a long cloak arrives at your door. It's just the Marie Lid. I'm probably butchering the name, but hey.
You probably are.
A scary looking but very fun take on wassailing. In this tradition, a horse's skull with jeweled eyes is mounted on a pole and carried by a person hidden under a sheet or sackcloth, led along by carolers. The Marie Lid goes from door to door, singing and asking to come inside. Traditionally, the resident is supposed to trade songs with the carolers for a bit until he or she invites them all inside for drinks and other treats. I'm sorry if a zombie horse comes knocking on my door to come inside. Do not open your door, folks, or you're going to wind up calling FMP in to take care of them.
Yeah. Don't be alarmed. Come on.
Once the Marie Lid has been fed, it's off to another home to repeat the ritual. Next we have the Yule goat, found in Sweden. So, Thor, the god Thor, apparently rode a chariot led by two goats. Since then, the Yule goat has become a huge part of Scandinavian Christmas.
I'm going to Google a picture of the Yule goat.
And that's what's unfortunate. We can't show pictures.
I know. Okay.
You think the god Thor could have gotten something better than a pair of goats, though? I'm just saying.
I would think. But goats can get pretty big. Now we have Dead Moroz, found in Russia, the Slavic equivalent to Santa. He dons a blue fur coat and a magic staff. He delivers presents to children in person on New Year's Eve. Russian Santa Claus, Dead Moroz, is thin, oh that's no fun, and wears an ankle-length robe and holds a scepter. There are no sleighs or reindeer accompanying the Santa. Instead, he rides in a troika, pulled by 3 horses. According to the Times, Dead Moroz delivers presents to good boys and girls door to door. Well, that ain't no fun. I like the chimney idea better. His granddaughter, pigtailed fairy Snegurotchka, also known as the Snow Maiden, helps him deliver the presents to the children to make sure the evil witch Baba Yaga does not steal them. And then, of course, we have... Say again?
Oh, I'm just like, oh, because I was actually reading about the Baba Yaga back before Halloween.
Right. And I didn't pull anything. You know, I thought about it, but I didn't pull anything up about Baba Yaga.
Yeah, no, it was it's pretty much a witch that's kind of like our version of the Sandman, but a very ominous presence. And
We actually talk about Baba Yaga in the Fae shows. We've actually covered Baba Yaga on S4.
Interesting.
I believe 2 years ago.
So, never mind. Carry on. I'm new.
I just want to know how the Russian Santa Claus is dressed in blue.
I don't know.
The Russian Santa Claus.
Right? April. Drinks vodka.
Yeah.
And then we have the Snow Maiden. And it's really interesting because, again, we talked about the personification of winter. And you got the Snow Maiden. We have Jack Frost, which I believe is primarily, well, anywhere it's cold. So I'm sure they got Jack Frost in Russia, too. But then you got the Snow Maiden, the granddaughter and helper of Dead Mraz. She accompanies him on New Year's Eve. Spot her in silvery blue robes and a furry hat. Then we have Lucy, or Lussie, found in Norway and Sweden. So 13 December is St. Lucia's Day. St. Lucia is represented as a beautiful young woman, and nowadays the occasion is marked by a young woman in a white sash, representing the saint roaming the streets with a health and safety officer, painting crown of candles on her head. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't put.
Let me get this right.
This
is no, and she's only wearing a white sash. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
We need to go to Norway.
Or Sweden.
Wow.
Oh. So, however, a few centuries ago, Norway celebrated Lucia in a very different form. For the night before 13 December, Lucia's night was the night when evil spirits and demons rose up to wander the earth. Children needed to be good, and the adults warded off evil by protecting their homes with the sign of the cross. Lucia was portrayed as a hideous demon with tyrannical powers. She rode through the skies on a broomstick, accompanied by demons, evil spirits, and trolls, spreading mayhem and chaos, destroying property, crops, and livestock, and kidnapping or killing anyone foolish enough to not be tucked up safely in bed. That's no fun. So they got to make her a saint? Come on now. They got to ruin all the good stuff. So in Bulgaria, Turkey, and Serbia, we have the Karakan Kolos. Did you find that one, Megan?
In your notes I did, but no, I actually did not come across that on my own research.
Okay, so the Karakan Kolos is generally portrayed as a cross between the devil and a Sasquatch.
Ooh.
In Turkey, he would stand at... Oh, wait. So it's not Turkey. America calls it Turkey, but in Turkey, it's called Turkiya. So in Turkiya, he would stand at street corners on winter nights, settling riddles for passersby. If the traveler gave an answer that included the word black, they were free to go on their way. If not, he would strike them dead with a single blow. Elsewhere, the Karen Kolos' favorite trick was to disguise their voice to pretend to be someone's friend or relative and lure their intended victim out into the snow. Sometimes the creature would set them into a trance and leave them to roam free. But in Serbia, the Karen Kolos preferred to jump on the victim's back and use them as a personal taxi service. Oh, that's cool. The exhausted person was only released at dawn.
I like that. Cole, the Serbian Uber. I like it.
The Serbian Sasquatch Uber.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Talk about ride sharing. There you go.
So, if you invited a Karen Kolos into your house, they would feel compelled to imitate their host's behavior. If you set fire to silk or thread, the Kirinkolos would be tricked into setting fire to its own fur, and would run from the house screaming to find water.
Oh.
Hey, just going back quick to the Dead Moroz from Russia.
Yep, Dead Moroz.
I actually did find out blue is the color blue has a special symbolic meaning in Russia. It is truthfulness, commitment, and purity.
Ooh.
Okay. And that's with any kind of color correspondence, actually. But usually, I believe if we do any kind of magical work, blue is usually spirituality or healing as well as the element of water.
Well, and truthfulness makes sense with the whole Christmas idea.
It does. So in Greece, we have the Kalikenzori. So in Greece, a group of demons called the Kalikenzori were said to spend the year underground, sawing through the tree of life that ran through the earth. Each December, when just a single thread held the tree together, the 12 days of Christmas would compel them to come overground and wander the earth. By their return in January, the tree had repaired itself and they had to start again. Once overground, they caused mischief and chaos, but above all, sought to steal any child born over the 12 days of Christmas and turn them into fellow Kalikenzori. They could be kept at bay by binding newborn babies in straw and garlic. Garlic. You could also stop the creatures from getting into your house by placing a colander outside the door. So the Kalikenzori would be compelled to count the holes. But because the number 3 is holy in Greek, they would fail to count that number and have to start again. This would occupy them until sunrise, when the house would be safe until darkness fell again. So it's the same kind of... Okay, I'll get to Tripp's comment real quick. The Kalikenzori are evil, subterraneous goblins who come only to the surface during the 12 days of Christmas, December 25th to January 6th specifically. So, Tripp is in the chat room. He says, to add to it, Dead Moroz went by the name Morozko, a powerful and cruel god of frost and ice, married to the equally unforgiving winter. He could freeze people and landscape at will, including entire invading armies. In some tellings, he was capricious and unpredictable, and the newly established Russian Orthodox Church attempted to brand him as a demon, along with the other pagan gods, naturally. However, his more lasting image was of a wise and impartial old man, someone who would give everyone a second chance and only freeze them if they persisted in their ways. Don't expect to see Dead Moroz in a Santa hat.
Huh.
Okay, so we're going to jump over to Hans Trapp. German. Based on a historical figure, Hans von Trotha. So I don't have all my... I'm not going to read all my notes. Oh my God, there's so much about Hans Trotha. He was actually a German knight with a notorious reputation as a robber baron. He was also believed to be a Satan worshipper. As an apparition, he terrorized children as a restless spirit, haunting the forests and abducting children. During Christmas time, he's used to keep kids in line. He's another anti-Santa who hands out punishment to bad children in the Alsace and Lorraine regions of France. So the legend says that Trapp was a real man, a rich, greedy, and evil man who worshipped Satan and was excommunicated from the Catholic Church. He was exiled into the forest where he preyed upon children disguised as a scarecrow, with jaw strutting out from his clothing. You know, that sounds like Halloween.
Very much so.
You know, I think they got confused. He was about to eat one boy he captured when he was struck by lightning and killed. A punishment of his own from God. Still, he visits young children before Christmas, dressed as a scarecrow, to scare them.
You know, when he was struck by lightning, there was a guy named Murphy sitting on the hill beside him. And that's the first time he said, "That's how it goes."
So, he was about 2 meters tall, and even by today's standards would have been an imposing figure. He became a local legend in the Palatinate region under the popular corrupted name of Hans Trapp, or occasionally Hans Trott. He was not only described later as a robber baron, but over the course of time became portrayed as a figure of terror for children who, as the Black Knight, Schwarzer Ritter, was a restless spirit who stalked through the Wasgau at night. And if you look up the legend of Jungfernsprung, his name was associated with the fiend who wanted to take the young maiden's virginity.
He's just an all-around bad guy.
He is. So he's actually described in the I'm thinking almanac, it's probably like an almanac, poem of the Alsace. Look, there comes Hans Trapp. He has a nice pointed hat, and a beard white like a roan. He comes from the beautiful starry sky, and brings children a rod, who do not do singing and praying. Look, Hans Trapp, we are so small and good and obedient at home. Shouldn't come with your stick, because we can sing and pray too. Yeah, okay. They didn't do very good at poetry, did they?
Well, it probably sounds a lot better in German.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't have the der Deutsch translation.
But like, it just, a lot of those things, they lose a lot in their translation.
Oh, you get to hear another one too. I think the Yule Cat isn't very good either, but it's interesting. So the Tompton.
Oh.
Now, like we were discussing the Tompton before the show, and if you go back and you listen to the original S-4 show about the Fae, you're going to hear about the brownie. And you know, I kind of equate what they call the Tompton as a brownie. The brownie it's a Fae that works around the home and works around the farm. You give them a bowl of milk or a cake and ale, you take care of them. They stick around, they're happy. But oh, God help you if you make them mad. So the Tompton, don't let looks deceive you. You might look like a cute little gnome. And some people don't like gnomes, but oh, but you'll not want to mess with him. Not only does he possess immense strength, but he does not screw around. He's easily offended. And if you cross him, if you're lucky, you'll get a hard strike on the ear. Otherwise, he might kill your livestock, beat you half to death, drive you insane, or kill you with his poisonous bite. But if you treat him well, he'll protect your household. This is one guy you want on your side. And we're going to close off the first hour with Belsnickel. So, do you want to pick up Belsnickel, Megan?
Sure. Okay. So, this is a German guy, or it comes from Germany. It originates in Germany. Belsnickel is a man
Let me
clad
jump in real quick. Because what's interesting is Belsnickel is the only one that you could document coming to America directly, whereas all the other creatures or beings stayed in their own culture, but were kind of just brought here through stories. But Belsnickel actually came to Pennsylvania directly.
See, now, did he come with the Quakers?
The Dutch.
The Dutch.
The Pennsylvania Dutch brought him to America.
Okay, yeah, he is not a good guy either.
No. Well, if they're
Yeah.
on the show tonight, they're not.
Oh, they're not. None of them are good. Hey, I try. I try to kind of figure out why. Huh. Why they're in lore and, what made them bad or whatnot. And I mean, I don't know. Parents were really strict back then.
Well, that's how they
That-
kept them in line.
The whole,
Yeah.
Pick
I mean,
up your
it's
toys, or Belsnickel's going to come tonight. Oh my God! Yeah, I'm going to pick up my toys. Yep.
We could
Yeah.
afford to bring some of that back.
Uh-huh.
yeah. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, I'm just Yeah, so he's another stick bearer. He would be walking around with the wooden cane. So let's see.
Yeah.
mhm. And yeah,
big-
he would also big sack.
A big sack with candy and nuts. Now that's a gift for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a trick.
You know what? And that makes sense because when I was in first grade, I went to Mount Vernon Christian School, and it's the Dutch Reformed, and we would go, at Christmas time, we'd go do our Christmas play in this Dutch Reformed church. And what did they give us? They didn't give us toys. You always get a treat when you're a kid, but they gave us candy and nuts.
Really?
Yep. Now, I wonder if that came from Belsnickel.
Yeah.
Because, that just dawned on me. That was the big common denominator right there. Is we got a brown bag after the Christmas play, and it had nothing but, peanuts and candy. Maybe an orange.
Yeah, oranges were big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm reading here that he would sometimes wear a mask, and he had a very long forked tongue.
Kind of like Krampus.
And he was reported to have claws, and so he would carry a hazel switch, right, which was supposed to have some kind of charm as well as a sting. So I'm guessing when he would whip these children, the charm of his switch would make them behave better.
Ah.
Yeah. And his, I guess, alter ego here, this Belsnickel, who he's also known as, he would actually reportedly leave birch rods in the stockings of naughty children.
As a threat.
Yeah. So instead of a beating, he would leave a rod instead of the candy and nuts.
Oh.
So
That's
Well,
more.
huh.
That's more.
I don't think he was leaving the rod as a threat.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he was just tired of him having to do all the work, so he left him for the parents.
Well, what's interesting about Belsnickel too, there's a first-hand 19th century account of the Belsnickel tradition in the Allegheny County, Maryland.
Okay.
In the newspaper. Can be found in Brown's Miscellaneous Writings, a collection of essays by Jacob Brown, born 1824. Writing of a period around 1830, Brown says, "We did not hear of Santa Claus. Instead, the tradition called for a visit by a different character altogether."
I do like what he was also known as. The Chris Kinkle.
Chris Kinkle, yep.
Oh,
Which
yep.
we all know for our traditional view of Santa Claus. He's also named as Kris Kringle.
Kris Kringle. Yep. It's very, very similar.
Now, I think this is what you like too, Coles. You like the Nova Scotia tradition, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's got
Yes,
ties
the
to this.
South shore of Nova Scotia, Canada, was a Christmas tradition known as Belsnickeling, where Similar to mummering, people go from house to house with the communities dressed in multiple layers of clothing and with scarves around their faces to conceal their identity. These people are then given food and drinks, usually rum or eggnog, until their identities are guessed. And then they're off to the next house.
I'm just saying, by the fifth house, I don't even know who I am. So,
well, you know they mixed the rum with the eggnog, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they separated it.
Well, because you do a shot of rum, then you do a shot of rum with eggnog. You know.
Oh, so he was known as Chriskinkle, Belsnickel, and sometimes as the Christmas woman. That's weird. So
And,
children, huh?
I was going to say maybe it's the fluffy fur coat. I mean, it appears very lavish in this rendering I'm looking at online.
Yeah. So
well, and it does say he wore a female garb.
It kind of did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, a cross-dressing Santa.
Oh.
Now we're really getting into it.
Only for the Pennsylvania Dutch. So, children then not only saw the mysterious person, but felt him, or rather his stripes upon their backs with a switch. Oh, I'm not going to go there. The annual visitor would make his appearance some hours after dark, thoroughly disguised, equally, especially with the face, which would sometimes be covered with a hideously ugly fizz. I assume that means mask. Generally wore a female garb. Hence the name Christmas Woman. Sometimes it would be a veritable woman, but with masculine force and action. He or she would be equipped with an ample sack about the shoulders, filled with cakes, nuts, and fruits, and a long hazel switch, which was supposed to have some kind of a charm in it, as well as a steam. One would scatter the goodies upon the floor, and then the scramble would begin by the delighted children, and the other hand would ply the switch upon the backs of the excited youngsters, who would not show a wince, but had it been parental discipline, there would have been screams to reach a long distance. So the Belsnickel character originated in the Palatinate when people immigrated to Pennsylvania. They brought their German traditions with them. Belsnickel was known in Pennsylvania in the early 1800s. And on that, folks, we did great covering some of the minor ones. But it's time for our break.
Wow. I hate to hear what's going to happen next hour. Wow.
We got to talk about Krampus. So, when we come back, we'll continue with discussion of the creepy beings of the holidays. So stay tuned for hour 2 of S4.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we will include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. You know, I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. You know, I am a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
Welcome back to S4. Tonight is our second of the holiday series. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's discussion. You can also find the archives at our Spreaker site and on the S4 YouTube channel for all the shows you missed for the last 2 years. Anyway, back to the show. And we are going to start off the top of this hour with, so there's what's called these guys are found in Iceland. That should explain a lot. It's cold. You're bored. It's dark. And these ones are probably. I put these guys right up with Krampus as far as the ruthless scale goes. And what's interesting about these ones, so you have Yule Cat, otherwise known as the Yule Cat. You have Grilla, which is the mom, and she had 3 husbands. And I think I have some. Yeah, Grilla's husband is Lepelui. I think that's how you say it. That one I have to butcher. And then you have the Yule lads. Now, I don't think we talked about these guys last year. But what's interesting is I actually have the Yule Cat poem and the Yule lads poem this year. And one of them just sucks because it doesn't have any rhyme to it. I think the Yule Cat one does. So, Grilla was a female giant, or ogre. She was a chef, and she was a chef because she ate kids. Her favorite dish is a stew she makes from bad little children. She's first mentioned in writing in the 13th century. Can you imagine 13th century reading about this? I mean, we sit and read about it now, and for most of us, we sit and laugh and go, wow, she's ruthless. But can you imagine in the 13th century telling your kids that this ogre is going to come and get them?
Yeah, that would be intimidating.
Terrifying.
Back then, like, that kind of thing, kids went out into the cold and they didn't come back.
Right.
It was a normal thing. So to tell them that an ogre got them, well, yeah, it did.
Yeah. So she's first mentioned in writing in the 13th century, but back then she was a creature with 15 tails. And 300 years later, she still had 13 tails, but on each are 100 bags with 20 children in every sack.
Whoa.
So
I'm oh man. I'm losing it. I'm never gonna see Santa's sack the same way after this.
Yeah.
So this is still found in a popular children's book of lullabies. The ogress was not directly linked to Christmas until the 17th century. Now, her own kids are the Yule lads. They leave toys for good children and rotten potatoes for the bad. And she lives in the mountains. So she's got 3 husbands. I didn't find a whole lot about the other 2, but I know her 3rd husband with her 13 children and a black cat, which is Yule Cat. So every Christmas, Grilla and her sons come down from the mountains. Grilla is in search of the naughty children, like I said, to boil in her cauldron. And the boys, they just come down for mischief. She can only capture children who misbehave, but those who repent must be released. You know, and that's kind of like Krampus. I like Krampus, because Krampus is only after the naughty kids. If you're a good kid, you got nothing to worry about with Krampus. Krampus don't pay attention to you. You notice that through myth and legend? Megan? Cole?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I had to mute myself. I'm just sitting here going, Christmas is so scary.
Yeah, this is nothing like Halloween.
No. Yeah, so continue.
Well, Grilla was married 3 times. I don't know. I hear ogre, I think of Shrek.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You know, Her first two husbands were Gustur and Bully, were no match against Gorilla, and for that matter, neither was a third one. So Lepaludi was resilient, and he still hangs on, living with her in the cave in the mountains with the big black Christmas cat. But he's also a child abuser and abductor.
All right, not that brave. Screw him.
Well, yeah, kids are tasty, apparently.
He mostly stays at home in his cave, lazy and mindless. We're going to jump over to Yule Cat. Now, this one I really find interesting because he's a black cat that eats the kids, but only if they don't have new Christmas clothes. Do you remember hearing about that?
Yes, yeah. Okay. This one confuses the heck out of me because really this is just, it's exactly what we have now with our Santa Claus. It's been taken on with consumerism.
Yeah.
But in a different way.
Well,
think back.
No.
Think back in that century. Think back, today they can't make people work. Even if they threaten them with a big black cat that's going to come and eat them if they don't make more clothes. They got to change with the times. Because back then, I find this story really as just the way to make industry make more clothes. Because they actually paid the workers with new clothes so that Yule Cat didn't come and eat their kids. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you were a kid, you were scared of an ogre coming to get you, and now you're scared of a kitty? Come on!
But you're scared for your children at this point.
I think this is more geared for the parents. Because, oh my God, if I don't get my kids new Christmas clothes, this ogre's cat is going to come and eat them. That's what I'm getting at it. So, Yule Cat is otherwise known as the Christmas cat or the Yule Cat. Again, she's from Iceland because she's Gorilla's cat. She eats people who do not have any new clothes to wear on Christmas Eve. Many people believe it was used to increase productivity among wool workers, specifically wool workers. So this ginormous cat's sole purpose in life is to eat children, and adults, some say, that do not get a new piece of clothing before Christmas. So it devours financially disadvantaged folks. That's the bottom line. So the Yule Cat, hold on, that's Yule Lads. Yule Cat poem I've got. And again, I've got to throw this disclaimer that the actual poet wrote, one of Iceland's most beloved poets in this century, Johannes Urquhart, wrote a lay about the Yule Cat. It follows in the translation of Vigner Jonsson, who says, "You'll have to forgive me, but I didn't make it rhyme. I'm not much of a poet." But what's interesting is it kind of tells the story. So you all know the Yule Cat, and the cat was huge indeed. People didn't know where he came from or where he went. Yeah, it doesn't rhyme. He wasn't very good. He opened his glaring eyes wide, the two of them glowing bright. It took a really brave man to look straight into them. His whiskers, sharp as bristles, his back arched up high, and the claws of his hairy paws were a terrible sight. He gave a wave of his strong tail, he jumped and he clawed and he hissed, sometimes up in the valley, sometimes down by the shore. He roamed at large, hungry and evil, in the freezing Yule snow. Now, I'm going to stop there. I find it interesting they call it Yule. Did you catch that, Megan?
Oh, yeah. Well, if this was back between the 13th and 17th century, that would make sense a little to me, because Christianity had sex. You know, there's sections. So the predominant belief was
they
pagan.
didn't refer to anything as Christmas. It was always Yule. And that was pre-Christianity.
Yeah, so that totally makes sense to me.
Well, okay. Let me clarify. Not pre-Christianity, but Christianity had not hit Iceland yet, maybe.
Yes. I'll agree with you.
So in every home, people shuddered at his name. If one heard a pitiful meow, oh, wow, something evil would happen soon. Everybody knew he hunted men, but didn't care for mice. Oh. I like this. Even if it doesn't rhyme, it's a very apt description of someone who knew the story. So he picked on the very poor, that no new garments got, for Yule, who toiled and lived in dire need. From them he took in one fell swoop their whole Yule dinner, and always eating it himself if he possibly could. Hence it was that the women at their spinning wheels sat, spinning a colorful thread for a frock or a little sock. Hey, it rhymes. Because you mustn't let the cat get hold of the little children. They had to get something new to wear from the grown-ups each year. And when the lights came on Yule Eve, and the cat peered in, the little children stood rosy and proud, all dressed up in their new clothes. Some had gotten an apron, and some had gotten shoes, or something that was needed. That was all it took. For all who got something new to wear, stayed out of that pussy cat's grasp. He then gave an awful hiss, but went on his way. Well, yeah, he's mad because he didn't get no food. Whether he still exists, I do not know. But his visit will be in vain if next time everybody got something new to wear. Now, you might be thinking of helping where help is needed most. Perhaps you'll find some children that have nothing at all. Perhaps searching for those that live in a lightless world will give you a happy day and merry, merry Yule. You know, and that's a very apt description of lore from a poet in probably, 13th century. I'm not sure exactly when that one was written.
Wow. You know what I just got out of that poem was that this was like a chauvinistic control of women trying to make sure that they were working all the time, making those new clothing.
Right.
Well, but no, it wasn't. In Iceland, it wasn't just the women that made clothing. It was mostly men.
Mostly men. Why would that be?
Because they were working in the wool fields, weaving the wool. They were a lot. There was a lot of men doing that job because it was so cold that they weren't doing it outside. The women weren't doing it outside. They were at home with the children. These weren't your women at home making clothes. These were men out in the fields collecting the wool and processing the wool.
Yeah, no, they were in factories. They would have been in factories processing.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, got to have the industries working. You got to get new clothes, or you don't want, Yule Cat. Yeah, what's his name? Yeah,
the Yule Cat.
Yule Cat.
There you go.
Yeah, Yule
I'm just like, Yule Cat.
Yule Cat.
So socks for Christmas are a good thing.
They are. And,
good point, notice, Megan. I like that.
Right?
We don't go by that. I mean, obviously, I've never even heard of Yule Cat. I think I did last year when we did the show. But you still, even today, and you don't know why, kids still get new Christmas clothes without knowing that story.
Yeah, and just think of those ugly Christmas sweaters. That's what it's all about.
Right?
Oh, I got mine for the Christmas party.
Nice.
Oh.
But what I got out of this, like, what I've gotten out of a lot of the notes that Eric put together here is, we always say Christmas has become so consumerism. Well, no, it hasn't. They've just changed with the times. It's always been like this.
Yeah.
Right.
What started?
Right.
It really started in the when did Coca-Cola pick up Santa Claus? It was 1930s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's where you could really start it. And I remember, even as a 7-year-old back in the early 70s, the big thing was going to J.C. Penney's downtown Mount Vernon to look at their big old Christmas display.
Oh, yeah. That was just... Actually, I remember growing up in grade school in New York City myself and going down to looking at all the beautiful shops, down on 34th Street and those kinds of things with all the wonderful, displays they had in the window. You could spend a whole evening there as a kid just looking at all the toys and all the mechanical figures that they had moving around. They still do that, of course, but window shopping and the holidays was a big deal.
And we'll look at the Macy's Day Parade. Look who sponsors the Macy's Day Parade. You can tell by the commercialization of Christmas just by the Macy's Day Parade. It's funny because we were sitting there this Thanksgiving. I had the kids. We were watching the Macy's Day Parade, and the kids said, "Oh, where's the Thanksgiving Day Parade?" I was like, "What do you mean? This is the Thanksgiving Day Parade. This isn't a Thanksgiving parade. This is a Christmas parade." I'm like, they're like, "Where's the turkeys at?" I'm like, well, yeah, you know what? You're too smart for your own good. You're absolutely right.
Could you imagine that? Thousands of turkeys running down New York streets. That's a parade I'd pay to see.
But turkeys are vicious.
Oh, yeah.
And they like shiny things. I mean, they would be chasing cars. That's what it would be.
I'd be willing to pay to see it.
When kids sit and make you think, though, they're absolutely right. It's not a Thanksgiving parade. I expect turkey floats. I expect, Thanksgiving pilgrims. I expect pumpkin pie. Thanksgiving Day Parade. And everything in the whole Thanksgiving Day Parade was nothing but Christmas. Getting you ready, getting you brainwashed into, oh my God, we can go to the Black Friday sales tonight after we eat our pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
And, Black Friday doesn't start on Friday. It actually starts after you eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
Because you got to get first in line.
No, well, not even that, Michael. The stores are open.
There are no more lines. Yeah, there are no more lines.
Yeah.
If you just walk in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the only store I know of that has lines is Cabela's. And that's because they actually give away a gun to the first person in line.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, Cabela's in Marysville, I know, has a line. Probably 2 days before
they open. From all the people behind them.
Right?
Yeah. No, I have done the Cabela's line. My husband and I went a couple years ago, and we stood out there for like 5 hours, and we were like 400 or 500 people back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy. And the guy in the very front had camped out there for 4 days and missed his own Thanksgiving.
And it's sad what consumerism has done.
Yep.
That's what it's come down to. So, the Yule lads are Gorilla's kids. There's 13 of them. So Icelandic children place a shoe in their bedroom window, each evening, the 13 days before Christmas. Because every night, one of the Yule lads visits, leaving sweets and small gifts or rotting potatoes. Depending on how that particular child has behaved on the preceding day. So, you know, you don't have to be good for the whole year, just good for that day before that Yule lad comes in.
Can I just say, Grilla, or whatever
Grilla.
her name was, Grilla, she might want to look at how she's storing her potatoes then.
Right?
It sounds like she had a lot of rotting ones.
If they got that many rotten potatoes, then yeah. Or a lot
Well,
of good kids.
obviously, she doesn't use potatoes in her stew. She uses kids in her stew, so...
Right?
But then why did you buy so many potatoes?
Maybe they grow potatoes.
In Iceland?
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, wait, I'm seeing a problem with this story.
That's why they're rotten. So, each Yuletide lad has a specific idiosyncrasy and will therefore behave in a particular manner. So, starting with, I'm not even know. Anyway, sheepcoat Claude. I'm not going to try the Icelandic name because it's Stekjarstor or something. He harasses sheep fold stick, who would try to drink the milk from the farmer's ewes, but he's impaired by his stiff peg legs. So he arrives December 12th and leaves December 25th.
It's hard to bend down that far.
Right? So then we have Gilagor, or Gilyagor. English translation is Goligok. He hides in goalies. So he arrives, and before the days of milking machines, he would sneak into the cowshed and skim the froth off the pails of milk. He arrives 13 December and leaves 26. And then we got Stufer, the stubby abnormally short. That's his translation. He's also known as, Ponuskafil, pan scraper, as he scrapes the food from the pans. And see that it doesn't sound all the way. Hey, come here. The pans are in the sink. Go ahead and take them all.
Yeah. But can I say something quick?
Yeah.
The gollygawk?
Uh-huh.
That is a word I know.
Okay.
And you know what? It has to do with them. So my grandparents owned cows, and that was something children used to do in farm towns in Canada, is they would go around and skim the froth off of the creaming machines.
Oh, wow. And that was in Canada,
and
right?
they would be called, and Grandpa would call them gollygawks.
Huh. And see that...
And we're not at all Icelandic.
No, but that shows that shows the cross culture.
Yeah.
And see, before doing the research for the show, I haven't even heard of the Yule lads. So it's kind of cool that you actually grew up with Gollygawk. Let's see how many. Let's see how many other ones you recognize. So now we have Spoon Licker, and so he steals Vorgir, a type of a wooden spoon with a long handle, to lick. He would steal the wooden spoon that had been used for stirring. When he visits the National Museum, he goes looking for wooden spoons. He's extremely thin due to malnutrition. He arrives 15 December to 28 December. And then we have Potaskiffle, the pot scraper. So we have the plate scraper, now we have the pot scraper. He tried to snatch pots that had not been washed, and he licks the scraps. He arrives 16 December to 29 December. And the reason I'm reading all these is because we also have a poem to read about all of them, called Yuletide Lads. So now we have the bull licker. He hides in their beds waiting for someone to put down their askir, or a type of bowl with a lid instead of dishes, which he then took and licked it clean. He arrives 17 December to 30 December. Then we have the door slammer. Now, if you look at all these, well, specifically the door slammer, you know, you look at what FMP does, and door slamming is a paranormal activity. But the door slammer likes to slam doors, especially during the night, waking people up. He arrives December 18th to 31 December. Then we have the Skyr Gobbler, a Yule lad with a great affinity for skyr. Now, skyr is a yogurt, but it's actually in Icelandic is considered a type of cheese. So, if you have skyr, this is the Yule lad that comes and steals it. He arrives December 19th to the 1 January. Then we have the sausage swiper. Hides in the rafters and snatches sausages that are being smoked.
We used that one too, but it meant something different. Just saying.
Okay. He shows up December 20th to 2nd of January. You're going to like this one. The window peeper.
Oh.
His Icelandic name is Gluga Gager. Translated as a window peeper. He's a snoop who looks through windows in search of things to steal. He arrives December 21st to 3rd of January. And then we have Gata Piefer, the doorway sniffer. Has an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell, which he uses to locate Laufabrau, which is a type of Christmas bread. He arrives 22 December to 4 January. And then we have Ket Croker, the meat hook. He adores all meat. In olden days, he would lower a hook down the kitchen chimney and pull up a leg of lamb hanging from the rafter, or a bit of smoked lamb from a pan, as smoked lamb was traditionally cooked on Saint Porlacour's Day. Now, if you've seen the movie Krampus, I think some of these are kind of portrayed in the movie, without spoiling anything about the movie, but you're going to see the meat hook. So he arrives 23 December to 5 January. Lastly, we've got Curtis Snurker, the candle stealer. Comes on Christmas Eve, December 24th. In olden times, candlelight was the brightest light available, and candles were so rare and precious that it was a treat for children. This one stole the candles. So now we have the Yuletide Lads. English translation, copyright from Halliburg Halmudsen. Let me tell the story of the lads of few charms, who once upon a time used to visit our farms. They came from the mountains, as many of you know, in a long single file to the farmsteads below. Gorilla was their mother. She gave them ogre milk, and the father, Lepaludi, Elosa milk. They were called the Yuletide Lads. At Yuletide they were due, and always came one by one, not ever 2 by 2. 13 altogether, these gents in their prime didn't want to irk people all at one time. Creeping up, all stealth, they unlocked the door. The kitchen and the pantry they came looking for. They hid where they could, with a cunning look or sneer, ready with their pranks when people weren't near. And even when they were seen, they weren't loath to roam and play their tricks, disturbing the peace of the home. The first of them was Sheepcoat, Claude. He came stiff as wood, to prey upon the farmer's sheep as far as he could. He wished to suck the ewes, but it was no accident. He couldn't. He had stiff knees, not too convenient. The second was Goligok, gray as head and mien. He snuck into the cow barn from his craggy ravine. Hiding in the stalls, he would steal the milk, while the milkmaid gave the cowherd a meaningful smile. Stubby was the third, called a stunted little man who watched for every chance to whisk off a pan, and scurrying away with it, he scraped off the bits that stuck to the bottom and Brim's favorites. The fourth was Spoonlicker. Like spittle, he was thin. He felt himself in clover when the cook wasn't in. Then stepping up, he grappled the stirring spoon with glee, holding it with both hands, for it was slippery. Pot Scraper, the fifth one, was a funny sort of chap. When kids were given scrapings, he'd come to the door and tap, and they would rush to see if there really was a guest. Then he hurried to the pot and had a scraping fest. Bowl Licker, the sixth one, was shockingly ill-bred. It sounds like they all were. Oh. From underneath the bedsteads, he stuck his ugly head, and when the bowls were left to be licked by dog or cat, he snatched them for himself. He was sure good at that. The seventh was Door Slammer, a sorry, vulgar chap. When people in the twilight would take a little nap, he was happy as a lark with the havoc he could wreak, slamming doors and hearing the hinges on them creak. Skeer Gobbler, the eighth, was an awful stupid bloke. Oh. He lambasted the skeer tub till the lid on it broke. Then he stood there gobbling, his greed was well known. Until about to burst, he would bleat, howl, and groan. The ninth was Sausage Swiper, a shifty pilferer. He climbed up to the rafters and raided food from there. Sitting on a crossbeam in soot and smoke, he fed himself on sausage, fit for gentlefolk. The 10th was Window Peeper, a weird little twist, who stepped up to the window and stole a peek through it, and whatever was inside to which his eye was drawn, he most likely attempted to take later on. The 11th was Door Sniffer, a doltish lad and gross. He never got a cold, yet had a huge sensitive nose. He caught the scent of lace bread while leagues were away still, and ran toward it weightless as wind over dale and hill. Meat Hook, the 12th one, his talent would display as soon as he arrived on St. Thorlax Day. He snagged himself a morsel of meat of any sort, although his hook at times was a tiny bit short. The 13th was Candlebagger. 'Twas Cole, I believe, if he was not the last of the lot on Christmas Eve. He trailed after the little ones, who, like happy sprites, ran about the farm with their fine tallow lights. On Christmas night itself, so a wise man writes, the lads were all restraint, and just stared at the lights. Then one by one they trotted off, into the frost and snow. On 12th night the last of the lads used to go. Their footprints in the highlands are efface now for long. The memories have all turned to image and song. So yeah, I wouldn't want to live in Iceland. If you don't have
All
an
I'm
ogre
saying,
or a
though,
cat, say again.
They are perceived as mischievous and pranksters. But at the same time, if you look at the way that poem started, if my mother was trying to feed me ogre milk, yeah, I'd go steal any freaking food I could, too. Okay?
All malnourished.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow. You did a wonderful job there, Coop. That was a great rendition there of probably a very old poem.
I have no idea how old that poem was. And that was actually a fun read. It was. And can you imagine, you know, it makes you wonder. We read our kids Christmas Eve, 'twas the night before Christmas, with a jolly old elf. Can you imagine hearing that poem on Christmas Eve in Iceland in 13th century? I mean,
well, it sounds what they do is they pick a specific character for every 12 or 13 days before Christmas just to keep people in line, the kids in line.
you know, and I think the common denominator with almost all the creatures we've talked about tonight is methods of keeping your kids in line, like many people do today with Santa Claus. And,
right.
You know, with local, Yule Cat, you know, if you don't get them new socks, the big cat's going to come and drag you away. Yeah, no. We're going to end the show tonight with Krampus. Because I know we got people who have been waiting to hear about Krampus. And I'm not even going to look at my notes. I know Krampus started in Austria, from the Alpines of Austria. And like we were discussing earlier, you know, Austria and Germany, I don't know my history well enough, or my, you know, global history enough. I'm not sure when Austria was established as a country. Does anybody else know?
After Germany.
So you're looking at the history of Krampus starting in Austria would have been Germany.
I think so, yeah.
Because, like we were saying, you know, I spent 8 years in Germany and never heard a word about Krampus.
Austria was founded in 1804.
When was Germany founded?
Oh.
Way before that, I think.
This is not proper. It says October 3rd, 1990.
No.
Hold on. I need to be more
That's close.
That's when Germany.
So 1990, I believe 1990 is when the Berlin Wall came down.
Yes.
And yeah, so somebody's very confused. That wasn't the founding of Germany.
No, that was the unification of Germany.
Right, there you go. But either way, you know, and like I said, I don't have my notes in front of me. I can't remember exactly which religious organization or political party, rather, made the German government and the Austrian government make Krampus illegal. You could not use Krampus as a parental punishment. You couldn't say, "Oh my God, better be good, or Krampus is going to come get you," you know. And they didn't want a devil personification to take over Christmas. So they convinced the government to make Krampus illegal. And I believe it's in the last 10 years that Krampus has actually made a comeback with, you know, Krampus Night. And what was that again, Cole? The 4th, right?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you ask?
Either the 4th is Krampus Night.
Yes. Yes, it was.
And,
okay.
You know, people dress up as Krampus, and it's amazing. Look up Krampus Night on YouTube, folks, and you can actually see all these renditions of Krampus filling the streets. It's kind of cool. Now, looking through some.
Hold on. You have your question about Germany, quick.
Yeah, I've got an answer.
So do I.
Okay, go.
Let's hear yours. Let's see if you're as close as I am.
Okay, so I'm going to back up. Austria predates Germany.
No.
Austria was founded in 1804. Germany was founded in 1871, but before that it was Prussia.
Okay.
Germania.
Does Germania precede Prussia?
Yes, because it was in the years 900 AD. Germany was part of the Roman. From the years 900 AD until 1806, Germany was part of the Holy Roman Empire. So from 1949 to 1990, though, it was made up of two countries called the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic, which is in 1990, those became the full country of Germany.
Yes. Okay, because I've got Kingdom of Prussia in 1701, and then Prussia was actually founded in 1525.
So yeah, like the whole area itself would have still been under the Germania. They were all different states.
Yeah.
Is what they would have been called.
Well, Germany.
So Prussia would have been one of them.
Germany is still, Bavaria is one state of Germany, for example. The Rhine is another state of Germany. Germany is still broken down into states, just not as many.
Oh, yes.
Which is, they're all very different. You go to West Virginia here, and then you go into Missouri, you go to Tennessee. You've got different scenery. But I'm talking, there's a big difference in states in Germany. You can tell the culture is completely different in the different states within Germany, which is cool.
Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of different cultures. So, looking back then, now if you look at the history of Krampus, they tried to say Krampus originated within pagan rituals. And the only pagan anything I can equate with Krampus would be the Greek god Pan.
Yeah.
So basically they took Pan, made him into an evil being with, you could pick apart Krampus very much, right down to the sticks he uses. And they all have symbology to them.
I would agree.
And so, of course, religion again steps in and says, oh no, he's a demon, he's the devil, and we got to outlaw the devil. So again, you've got the religious side coming in and outlawing culture and tradition. But for our listeners, if you haven't seen the movie Krampus yet, it's definitely worth a watch. I'm not going to say nothing. It's funny.
Another depiction of him was just brought to my attention.
What's that?
There is a belief that the Grinch is based off of Krampus. Seeing as Dr. Seuss himself was born of German immigrants.
Okay.
So he would, through his timeline, being from, depending on what area of Germany from, he could have known the story of Krampus himself, and have brought that into his own stories.
Well, I've also heard stories of the Grinch being equated to Bigfoot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Look at his feet.
Right.
Huh.
And you look at both of them. There's very big similarities there, and even the people of Whoville, that it does have a very German type architecture to it, even though it's all kind of messed up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all twirled and swirled. The architecture there is kind of similar to some older German towns.
And what's funny is I took the kids to the Cedar Woolley Christmas Parade, and they got their picture taken with the Grinch and with, oh God, I think that was Mrs. Grinch. I'm not sure who she was. And the mayor of Whoville, who happened to be the mayor of Cedar Woolley.
Now, did the Grinch try and stick them in a bag? Because that would tell us there.
No.
Oh, well.
No, he was a nice Grinch. Which, you got to feel sorry for the Grinch, because the people of Whoville were pretty rude.
Yeah, when he grew up as a little kid and they made fun of him and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of an interesting part of the story I hadn't heard before.
It must have been Black Friday. And he couldn't get his socks because everyone stole the socks out of the box before he could get to them.
The socks from the box.
Yeah, in Walmart. No, not Walmart. Who-Mart. There we go.
Fred Meyers.
It was Who-Mart. So we are coming down to the last 10 minutes of the show. It's been a great show. We actually talked about things this year that we didn't talk about last year, which is kind of what I strive for. I try to strive for, you can go back and listen to last year's Christmas Creature show and definitely hear a completely different show. And that's what I do strive for. Because, like I said, I didn't get the Yule Cat poem or the Yule Lads poem last year. And it's always nice to change up the show.
Oh, I think you have to make that an annual event with those poems being recited. Those were great.
Well, and I think what's great about it is to think about the era and the age they were written.
Yes.
I love old poetry.
And the reasons that they were written as well, and thinking that it's in the middle of the winter somewhere in an alpine place with plenty of snow and people are freezing to death. And there's a reason why these stories were brought forth and told over and over again.
Well, and, this month, so we're going to get into that next week, but this month actually has holy days from about 5 or 6, actually more than that, different religions. There's a Muslim holy day, there's a Buddhist holiday, there is a Hindu holiday. But this month is dominated by one religion.
Sorry.
And,
I did just have an interesting question from Kayla.
What's that?
So if the Grinch is Krampus, does that make the Cat in the Hat the Yule Cat and the Yule Lads thing 1 and thing 2?
Oh, very good.
Yeah, good points. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? And Trip is in the chat room saying, what about the Middle Eastern or Asia? And I wasn't able to find a whole lot about the Middle East or Asia, other than, the Turkish, the Turkish creatures. There's not much documented. And what's sad is, when you look at the old customs, some cultures didn't write their customs. They were all oral traditions. And I think that's where some of the problems come in. When you're doing research, you've got to find the oral traditions which aren't written anywhere.
I wonder what the Native Americans might have had for a similar type of character in the wintertime.
Do you know of any, Cole?
Honestly, no.
Maybe
I've
that
recently
will
been kind of excommunicated a little bit.
Maybe that's what we'll endeavor for next year.
Yeah, that would be fascinating. Obviously, they have a lot longer culture than we do, and maybe even Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they have some kind of, I'm sure they do, some kind of legendary lore about the wintertime characters.
Well, and Asia we could visit in January because their Christmas isn't until January.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, all I'm finding with Native Americans is missionaries were the influence on them celebrating Christmas. I will talk to my grandparents and see if I can find anything out further.
Wonderful.
A little bit further, because I have a Native American on both sides of my family.
You've got a year.
I've got a year. I've got a year to compile this.
We've got a year to find Native American traditions.
we're already prepping for next year.
We are. We always are.
Yeah, I think that would be very fascinating. And I will also look into the Asian because I'm curious to see if there was something around this time of year that, not necessarily Christmas, because again, missionaries would have influenced actual Christmas.
Well, that's a nightmare by itself.
For them, their celebration is New Year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kayla just found something called Nina.
Okay.
Neon. For Chinese New Year. And it was a dragon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Well, and dragons infiltrate all kinds of Oriental history.
Yes.
So that makes complete sense.
It was a beast that lived under sea.
Okay. Water dragon.
Yes.
So cool. We don't get to do this too often. Go ahead and tell us about Statement of Sound DJ services.
So, for the local area of Skagit County, we're a local DJ service, but for everyone out in Radioland, we also are doing production of any commercials or any items you may need for your radio needs, or for any type of needs, like if you just want to produce any type of music or sound production, we can get that done for you. You can reach me through Facebook at www.facebook.com/SOSDJPro.
Outstanding, thank you. And Michael, where can we find UFOI Team and your radio show?
Oh, yeah. The radio show, by the way, is Saturday nights, Pacific Standard Time at 7 p.m. on nightdreamstalkradio.com. And, of course, the UFOI Team is on Facebook at UFOI Team and UFOITeam.com on the Internet.
All right. Excellent. So, and trips in the chat room. So, Native American tribes, it's a ritual that honors your ancestors' belief system and a way of offering prayer and gratitude. Prayer sticks are made by everyone in a family for 4 days before the solstice. And that makes total sense that they'd be honoring the solstice versus, a Yule. What we call Yule is the same as winter solstice. And so it makes complete sense that Native Americans would honor the solstice. Because, again, they are pre-pagan, or pagan-oriented, as far as honoring the earth, as far as honoring the sun, Mother Earth. So, yeah, it'd make more sense if they'd actually honor the solstice until the missionaries found them. So, time's flown. Want to thank our crew tonight. And hold on a sec. There we go. So I want to thank our crew tonight. Cole Wagleitner of FMP Culture and Lower Research Specialist and owner of Statement of Sound DJ Services. Megan Gerling, our FMP Security Team and Astral Team. And Michael Hall, our paranormal lawyer and founder of the UFOI Team. So our music came from Cole Wagleitner of DJ of Sounds Productions. Look forward to more new intros from him. And Stephen Gill of Twisted Images, Twisted Studios Department for our closing music. As always, you can catch S4 on the Fringe FM every Saturday night at midnight PST and KSVU 90.1 FM Saturdays from 10 to 12. Again, Pacific Standard Time. So next week is December 15th, and we're going to be covering the pagan history of Yule and the winter solstice, and all the symbols of the holidays that tie into it. So, folks, thank you again for listening to S4. Keep your eyes to the skies, and remember, it's you that give us a reason to produce S4. So have a great week, S4ians.